everyone, welcome back to the Library Mouse. If you're new here, my name is Gina. I am a retired teacher and I love reading and talking about books. I read a lot of different genres, but my favorites are contemporary literature and historical fiction. So it's been a while. I haven't been able to make a video in a hot minute, but here I am. This is going to be done in bits and pieces just so I can fit it all in. But I did want to do an April check-in because I did read my goal of 5 books for April. And for the most part, I enjoyed all of the books that I read. Are they all 5-star? No. But I didn't have any 3-star or 2 or 1 this month, so that was good. So anyway, let's go on with the first book that I finished. First book on the list that I finished was a memoir, and it is called Confessions of a Prairie Bitch by Alison Armgrim. And the reason that I picked this up, it caught my eye because I just was a huge Little House on the Prairie fanatic. My sister and I had read all of the books over and over again. And when I found out there was going to be a Little House on the Prairie TV series, I was so excited. So excited. My television watching was very limited in the 70s, and I wasn't allowed to watch very many programs. So I was able to watch the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family, and I knew, oh, and Lawrence Welk, but I knew that I would be able to watch Little House on the Prairie. So obviously this is the villain, if you're familiar at all with Little House, that Nellie was the villain that everyone loved to hate. She played the part superbly. I never liked her as a child, but I've heard her speak as an adult, and she's such a funny, smart woman. And the memoir was excellent. It was very easy to read, well written, equal parts sarcasm, funny, horrifying. She suffered a lot of abuse at the hands of her brother, and I think that her sarcastic humor has been her way to cope with that. She also gives great backstory to filming Little House, what her life was like. Also, it tells the story of how she became so involved in raising awareness and money for AIDS. She became extremely good friends with her on-air husband, Steve Tracy, who played Percival at the time, and he wound up dying from AIDS. And her life definitely was tumultuous in many ways. She was left alone a lot to survive as a kid, but it was extremely hopeful and funny, and has some really cool pictures in it. So yeah, anything you'd like in a memoir. If you're at all a Little House on the Prairie fan, this would be a great book. So, nice book. I give it 4 stars. I mean, it doesn't blow me away, but it was good. It was interesting. Book number 2 on my list. This was my 5-star book this month. I'm sure some months I won't have a 5-star. Maybe I'll have more, but this was the only book that I gave a 5-star review to this month, and it is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner, historical fiction. So the story basically follows 2 children through young adulthood. One is a girl named Marie. She lives with her father in Paris, but when it's occupied by the Germans, they flee and they go to the walled city of St. Malo. And it's interesting, I had never heard of St. Malo before, so I had to look it up. It has an interesting history if you want to check it out. But anyway, her father works for the Museum of Natural History. And when they flee to St. Malo, they go to live with her reclusive uncle. Her father, I won't give too much away. This is not going to be a spoiler, but her father winds up disappearing. and she's left to live with her uncle in this walled city. And the thing that makes her unique is that she goes blind, and she's having to learn to deal with an occupation of the city and learning how to exist while blind, and actually begins to work for the resistance as a person who's blind, which makes her life that much more difficult. The parallel story is a German boy named Werner who is an orphan. He and his sister wind up living in an orphanage, and they find an old transistor radio, and because of that, he learns everything he can about radios, how to fix them, how to build them, how to transmit sound through them, how to find out how far away someone is who's transmitting something. And he becomes very valuable to the Nazi army because of that, even at a really young age. So throughout the book, you're wondering, what's the connection between these two? And there's subtle hints of it throughout, but at the very end, the climax of the book, they come together in a very important way. The book is sad. The book has a sad ending. It has a sad ending. I didn't want it to end the way it did, but it's so well written. Admittedly, and I guess it's because I'm a reader who enjoys straightforward books, even fiction. There's a lot of description. Sometimes I found myself skimming parts of it, but it was still just an excellent book. Highly recommend it. This was my 5-star for the month of April, all the light we cannot see. Okay, as previously mentioned, I was going to have to do this video in bits and pieces, so yes, change of clothing. It's now the next morning, so I'm going to try to get this done in between working. So, next book that I read. All right, so this is a very specific kind of nonfiction book. It's not going to interest everyone, but because I have started intermittent fasting to lose weight, to get my gut biome back on track, and just reap the health benefits of fasting, I got this book. I do listen to the Fast Feast Repeat by Jen Stevens. I listen to her podcast. So if you have any, questions about fasting, you want to see if it's for you, you want to learn more about the benefits, this is the book. Super easy read. Very easy read. Definitely, I'm glad I bought this one. A lot of times I don't buy and keep fiction books. I do reread fiction books, but they have to be like really good for me to reread them. And I remember moving from Pennsylvania to New York, and the boxes of books that were so heavy to move. And I love books. I love having books in a collection. We actually want to make a little library in our house, but I really have to be picky because it's just a lot. I mean, books are a lot. Not that I'm moving, but so anyway, this is one I would keep. She goes through all of so just some of the table of contents. We've got the fasting part, which is talking about intermittent fasting as a health plan as opposed to a weight loss plan. Different kinds of fasting that you can do, like the hours, the fast start, like your first 28 days of fasting, what they recommend. Then they talk about feasting, which is what can you eat when you open your eating window. tracking your progress, it being a lifestyle, not a diet. They have exercise and tracking your progress and the physiology of fasting. So it's just an excellent book if that is a topic that you are looking for. I gave it a 4. I don't know what else I would do different. I don't know. Usually a 5 pops out at me, but I mean, as far as information goes, this is a 5. So maybe I should have given it a 5. But anyway, Fast Feast Repeat by Jen Stevens. Okay, as you can see, I'll put it up here. The next book I wound up borrowing from the New York Public Library ebook, and it was Booklovers by Emily Henry. As far as my 52 book challenge, this was the author that everyone else has read but me category. And I really wanted to like this book, and I didn't love it. First of all, while I love contemporary fiction, I don't usually like rom-com kind of books. I don't like, I love rom-coms, but I don't like the stereotypical rom-com that, you know, like a Hallmark movie. You can check all the boxes. You know, harried career woman, check. Goes to a small town to find herself or to take care of an estate, check. Meets up with a guy that she doesn't really like at first, check. They work together on some project, saving something, check. And that's this book. So Nora Stevens is a cutthroat book editor, and she has a sister. Her sister drags her away to this small town, and the small town is one that is featured in the one of the books, or a series of books that Nora edits. And the author has made this town to seem very idyllic. And when they get there, they're like, oh, okay, this isn't what it appears to be. But in the meantime, they're in this small town. And lo and behold, the editor from, I believe she's in New York, the editor from New York, that she doesn't really get along with, is from this small town. And he arrives. And of course, they butt heads. But, they work together to save the bookstore that is there. And you can just go on from there. It was cute. I'm actually having to look at the synopsis on Goodreads because it didn't stand out to me at all. It was light reading. It was a good beach read. Sit by your pool and read. I don't know. I wanted to like it more. I just wanted something different. I just wanted something different. And I don't know. It was a lot like every other romance book that I've read. That romance is like the forefront. Like, sometimes you get a great book and there's romance in it or a love story in it, but it's not, this is a love story, or this is not the main focus. Also, I hate to even say this on a booktube, and I'm trying to get over my bias. Don't judge a book by its cover, but the covers that look like Emily Henry's books, like cartoony drawings, I am never drawn to them. I never pick them up in a bookstore. That's horrible of me. I usually like covers that are darker and moodier on the front. Even, I don't know, it just has to have a certain look. I don't know, more realistic look, I guess. I don't know. Is anyone, I feel silly saying that, but it's true. So I would not have looked at Booklovers to begin with because of the cartoon drawing cover. Oh well. Anyway, on to the next. Okay, last but not least, in my 5 books this month was The Handmaid's Tale. So I have read The Handmaid's Tale before. I did not read it before the series. I watched the series, and as I was watching it in between, from one season to the next, I did pick up Handmaid's Tale and I did read it. This is part of the 52 book challenge, the duology, because I had planned to read the Testaments and I couldn't find it. So I'm on the hunt to borrow the Testaments again. They had it in audiobook, but I don't like audiobooks, so I didn't want to get it. So the second reading of The Handmaid's Tale is just as disturbing as the first. Given the climate that we are in right now, it's even scarier to me. The writing was very well done. It's definitely page turning. The one thing that struck me, though, this time around reading The Handmaid's Tale was how abruptly it ended. I didn't remember it ending so abruptly. And I think maybe part of the reason is that I'm used to the series where they continued The Handmaid's Tale on past the first season. But the first season was the book. And when it ended, I didn't even realize it ended. I went to go to the next page and it was over. I'm like, what? I didn't realize how much was left hanging for your imagination in The Handmaid's Tale. I think it definitely is a book everyone should read. I think that what happened in The Handmaid's Tale should not be taken lightly. And yes, I know it's a dystopian book, but, there was foreshadowing that happened in that book that people overlooked in the book, and suddenly this was the way their life was. It's definitely, I just think it's a book everyone should read. So that one, I gave it a 4. I loved the book, but I didn't like the ending. And I realized Margaret Atwood ended it the way she did for a reason. There's many ways that you could think about it. But for me, I'm like, oh, I just want to know more. I just don't want it to end. So anyway, those were my 5 books for the month of April. So far in May, I have finished The Tattooed Girl by Joyce Carol Oates. And I am reading, hang on. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't remember it. Killers of the Flower Moon, by David Gran. Topic that's extremely interesting to me. So far it's very good. It's nonfiction, but it's super interesting, extremely easy to read, well written, page turning. It's very good. It's excellent, and I can see why it was on the bestsellers list. So as my throat is going, I will be seeing you on my next video. I have a ton of tags to do, so I think my next one will be a tag video. So anyway, have a great day, everybody, and happy reading. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't remember it. Killers of the Flower Moon, by David Gran. Topic that's extremely interesting to me. So far it's very good. It's nonfiction, but it's super interesting, extremely easy to read, well written, page turning. It's very good. It's excellent, and I can see why it was on the bestsellers list. So as my throat is going, I will be seeing you on my next video. I have a ton of tags to do, so I think my next one will be a tag video. So anyway, have a great day, everybody, and happy reading.